Thank you for joining us today for our webinar titled Navigating the Food Buying Guide Calculator. We are very excited to have you join us today as we will be showcasing the functionality of the Food Buying Guide Calculator and its new location on the Food Buying Guide interactive web-based tool. Whether you are new to using the Food Buying Guide technology-based resources or if you're already familiar with them, you are in for a treat today. Before I get started, I would like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and made available at a later date. It usually takes at least 4 weeks or more. We will send out an announcement through Partner Web once the recording is available. We will be taking questions at the end of our presentation. Please use the Q&A feature on the right side of the screen at any time to type in your question, and we will address as many as we can. If you do not see this Q&A feature, then please do the following. On the bottom of the screen, you will see a row of circle icons. Click on the one that has 3 dots, which is for more options, and select Q&A, which will allow you to type in a question. We have lots of great information to share, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. To start things off, let's do a quick poll. We would like to know who we have in the audience. Please select the answer that best describes where you work. Is it childcare, schools, or are you with a state agency office? Do you work with FNS at a regional or national office? And if none of these options fit you, then select Other. Results, please.
It should be showing.
Okay.
We have a majority of schools and then state agency following close behind.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. It's good to know we have a variety of participants with us today. Okay, so today our presentation will cover an overview of the Food Buying Guide digital resources with a highlight of the newest resource, which is the Food Buying Guide Calculator. Kashalia will then do a demonstration of the Food Buying Guide Calculator on the interactive web tool and on the mobile app. And as I mentioned earlier, we will allow some time at the end for questions. To provide some background on the Food Buying Guide, otherwise known as the FBG, it's been around for about 70 years and continues to be one of Child Nutrition Program's most popular resources. The FBG is used by program operators to obtain information for determining the required quantities of food to purchase for meals and determining the contribution each food makes towards the meal pattern requirements. This publication historically has been used by Child Nutrition Program operators as well as food manufacturers. The Food Buying Guide continues to be revised with new yield data, with the latest version of the FBG is now available for download. At the request of FNS stakeholders, we have streamlined the process to access food yield information by bringing the Food Buying Guide into the technology era. The Food Buying Guide has now gone digital with the web-based interactive tool and mobile app. The web-based interactive Food Buying Guide was released in the summer of 2017, and the Food Buying Guide mobile app was released in January of 2018. Okay, let's take a moment to do our second poll to see how many of you have already used the digital Food Buying Guide resources. So the options are, have you used both the web tool and mobile app? Have you used the mobile app but not the web tool? Have you only used the web tool? Or you know about these resources but just haven't used them? Or you did not know about these resources until today? So let's take a few minutes to answer. Okay, so let's go ahead, and Desiree, you might need to help me out here to see what the results are for using these resources.
So we have a pretty wide spread between all. We have a fair amount that have used both. We have some that have used the Food Buying Guide Interactive, and we have a great deal that know about these resources but have not used them. So a pretty widespread between all of these categories. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone for participating. Okay. For those of you who are not familiar with the Food Buying Guide web-based interactive tool, we're going to take a brief moment to highlight the main components and capabilities. And for those who are already using the tool, this will serve as a refresher. Users can log into the Food Buying Guide tool as a registered user or as a guest. We encourage all users to register to gain full access to key components that I'll discuss with you shortly. To access the tool as a registered user, you must use an eAuthentication account. As I just mentioned, a USDA eAuthentication account is required to access some of the tool's components. This account is created using just your name and email address, and you can come up with your own username and password. It's very similar to other websites and applications that require an account to be able to save your information so that you can always log back in at any time to access it. You only need one eAuthentication account to access any USDA applications. So let's do our third poll. How many of you already have an eAuthentication account? Okay, and Desiree, can you help me out again and let me know what we look like here with the results?
Oh, there we go. Got the results now.
Okay. Actually, it looks like I can see them here. And it looks like most of you already have an eAuthentication account. Okay, great.
It's split.
Yep. Okay, great. For those of you who do not have an eAuthentication account, please email us using the email address at the bottom of the slide, and we'll assist you in setting up an account. So the Food Buying Guide interactive tool includes the following basic features that are available to guest users and registered users of the tool. These features include the ability to search for food items by food groups and further narrow the search by food categories. The capability to do a side-by-side comparison of food items within a food category, such as comparing diced canned carrots to diced fresh carrots. In addition, you can create a favorite foods list. However, in order to access this list at a later time, you must be a registered user. As a guest user, you can still save a favorite food list and access it again during your current session, as well as print and email it. However, once you close out of your session, your favorite foods list will no longer be available. The interactive Food Buying Guide has 3 other features built in that include the Recipe Analysis Workbook, the Product Formulation Statement Workbook, and the FBG Calculator. The Recipe Analysis Workbook, which is otherwise known as the RAW, is available to registered users. The RAW allows the user to easily search the Food Buying Guide for credible ingredients listed in a recipe. The selected food items will auto-populate into the RAW and calculate the item's crediting information based on the amounts entered by the user. The meal pattern contribution is calculated, and the meal pattern contribution statement for the recipe can be saved, printed, and emailed. The Product Formulation Statement Workbook is available to food vendors with registered accounts. This feature allows vendors to easily search the Food Buying Guide for food items. The selected food items will auto-populate into the workbook and calculate the product's crediting information based on the amounts entered by the vendor. In addition, the Product Formulation Statement Workbook will generate a certified contribution statement on a company's letterhead. Manufacturers may use the document generated from the PFS workbook to communicate with child nutrition program operators on how their product credits to federal meal pattern requirements. The newest feature is the Food Buying Guide Calculator, which Kashalia will highlight and provide a demo of shortly. The FBG Calculator will create a shopping list to assist CM program operators in ordering and purchasing food for their programs. Okay. As reference, the Food Buying Guide includes a user guide and training videos to provide you with step-by-step instructions to use the tool and its different components. The user guide and training videos are available under the Help menu. I'm now going to hand the presentation over to Kashalia for a demonstration of the FBG Calculator.
Thank you, Deborah.
Oh.
So before I start the demo, let's do one last poll. As some of you may know, prior to December 2018, the FBG Calculator was previously hosted on the Institute of Child Nutrition, ICN's website. However, we incorporated the Food Buying Guide Calculator into the Food Buying Guide interactive web-based tool to create a one-stop shop for all Food Buying Guide resources. So how many of you have used the original Food Buying Guide Calculator that was available on the ICN's website? So let's go ahead and open up the poll and see, have you used it when it was on the ICN's website? You have used it while we have released it on the interactive web tool? Or no, this is a brand new tool for you? Okay, so it has ended, and let's see, we see the results. And it looks like there were some of you that have used it originally on the ICN site and also on the web tool. But there are still enough of you that this is the first time you're hearing about it. So that's great. So we'll get you all squared away, getting you acclimated with the tool. So I'm now going to switch over to do the demonstration. And feel free to follow along with me as you wish as I do the demo. So as Deborah mentioned before, this is on the website. We can access the tool as a registered user or as a guest user. So for today, for sake of time, we'll go ahead and access it as a guest user, and you will select who your organization type is and click enter to get into the tool. So this is the home page of the interactive web tool, and for those of you who are already familiar with it, you're familiar with this site. So to access the Food Buying Guide Calculator, we have two ways. I'm going to first go through the main easiest way to get into the calculator. On the home page, you see the Food Buying Guide Calculator button. We will simply click on it, and this will open up our main page for the calculator. Once you have started creating shopping lists, so if you're a registered user and you already have been creating shopping lists, you'll see a list of your shopping list that you may have saved. As a guest user, the first time you enter in here, you will see it as this because you're not able to save anything. So we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and create a shopping list. I want to also take a step back to say that the functionality is the same as what you're used to seeing on the ICN's web calculator. The look and feel is different, but the functionality still works the same way. So once you're ready to start your list, the first thing to do, since we're going to save it, that you could always go back and edit, or to be able to save it to your computer, or to be able to email it, we will need to have a name for the shopping list. So any name that you want to give it. And if you want to put a date to keep track of, if you have multiple shopping lists you want to keep track of, you could also put a date, but it's not required. So once you have set the name, we're ready to start adding food items to the list. You'll notice that each of the meal component is on a separate tab. So even on the old calculator, when it was on ICN's, you still had to choose the meal component and then add the food items compared to that. That goes along with each meal component. So let's go ahead and add, we're going to add some ground beef.
Night.
So you simply type in the keyword. You can do as if you're used to using the Food Buying Guide web tool already, you can just type in, you can be very specific to get the quick search, or you can be as narrow as broad as you need it as well. So once you type in the keyword, you look for the item that you'll notice that you start seeing a list of the food items in the Food Buying Guide that has the word ground beef. So you look for the one that you're looking for, and you simply click on Add. And you'll notice that the food item below, it gets added. And one other way that you could also add on to the food item, shopping list is if you already have a favorites list that you created on the web tool and of items that you're mostly using, constantly using on your menus, so you already have it on your favorites list. You don't need to keep on searching. So you can click on the Display Favorites button and just select the item from there. So once you have added the food item, now we're getting ready to. So if you already have, let's say you already had some leftover ground beef in your kitchen, your stock, you want to account for that. You can go ahead and put the number of purchase units on hand here. But please make sure that the unit that you're using matches what it is on the Food Buying Guide for this food item. So for example, for ground beef that we chose, the purchase unit is pound, so you want to make sure the number of purchase units in hand that you're entering here is in pounds. So let's say you have a pound of ground beef already on stock. You can enter in 1. And to help you out, we also have a tooltip here. So anytime you see this little info icon with the eye, that means it's a tooltip, so you can just hover over it and it'll give you the information saying if it's not in the same purchase unit, you would have to convert. So let's, for example, it was in ounces and you want to convert it to put it into a pound. So now we're ready to add the Add Serving Size. You click on the Add Serving Size and you'll get the option here to select all the serving sizes that are available for this food item. And then you would enter in the number of servings for your program. So let's say we're trying to serve 100. And when you click tab over, you'll notice up at the top where it says By Purchase Unit, the number has calculated. Now, it has taken into account the number of purchase unit at hand that you already have, and it's telling you need to purchase 8 pounds of the ground beef to serve a 1 ounce serving for 100 people. You can add multiple serving sizes. So let's say we want to go ahead and add another serving size, and this time we're looking for 3/4 ounce. And then you'll notice that the by purchase unit changed so that it added up total of how much you need to purchase for both serving sizes. Let's go ahead and add another food item. But before I do, I want to make sure, from time to time, make sure to click Save. The main thing you want to make sure is before you leave out of the calculator, before you head back to list, that you always save. You can go in between each of these tabs without saving, but just for the habit, it's best to go ahead and hit save if you need to. So let's go ahead and add some carrots now. So I notice I went into the vegetable tab in order to add the carrots. So same thing here. We're going to choose the item that we want. Click Add. when you click Add, it shows up on the bottom here with the food item description. And this time, I'm going to say I don't have any carrots on stock, so we'll go ahead and add the serving size. And again, it already calculated for us. Let's go to the grains. I want to make sure, based on a couple of questions we have received since we have released this. So in the grains, you're going to find any of the grains items that are currently available on the food buying guide. So for example, let's say we need to add some wild rice. We search for it, we find what we're looking for. And the same thing, we add serving size. We'll do a half a cup this time. And let's say if maybe you have multiple programs that you're working on. Let's say for this one, we'd say we're going to do 50 servings. And again, you can notice that it has gone ahead and calculated for you. So where can we see the shopping list that you're recording now? So if you click on the shopping list tab, you can start seeing as you enter the food items, it'll start populating in this tab. So for this is one of the comments that we, great feedback that we received from users that when we released it in December, that we didn't have all the information that you were used to seeing on the old calculator. So we have make sure that we have included all the information in the same order that you're used to seeing for the list. So I know one of the things that we were missing was the number of servings, and the serving size was missing from the list. So that has been added. So you get the by person. So if you do have multiple, if you have done multiple serving sizes for one food item, you're going to get the total that's bolded to say this is the total amount that you need to buy for both the serving sizes that you had tried to calculate for. So on this tab, you're just viewing it. So let's say you need to print it to take the shopping list along with you when you go shopping, or when you need to send it to the person who is in charge of doing the ordering for you. So you have access to a PDF that you'll be able to save and print and email. So to do that, we're going to go back to the list, but before we do, we want to make sure that we click Save. And we're going to go back to the list, where you'll see your list now, the shopping list name that you have created has populated in this table. So remember when we first got in here, this was all blank. All we saw was the create shopping list option. So now that we created one and we have saved it, it is on here. So even as a guest, as Deborah mentioned, while we're on this session, since we have not exited out of the session, you still have access to your saved save shopping list as we're still on this session. So from here, you could always go back. So these are the available capabilities that you can do with your saved shopping list, whether you're a guest user or a registered user. You can always go and edit, which means if you click on edit, you can go back and continue to add on. So let's say you were in the middle of it, you had to get out. You're going to come back and continue to add the food items for your shopping list. And you can also delete it. You don't need this shopping list anymore. You have the option to delete it. You will get a confirmation saying, are you sure you want to delete? before you delete. And again, and then here's the PDF. You can download the PDF version of it. So depending on which browser you use, I'm using the Chrome. So on Chrome, you usually get the PDF version as a file is available on the bottom of the screen. So this is what the shopping list as a printed, what you're going to print looks like. So again, it's we try to match what was originally on the old calculator, making sure the information is given to you in the same order as they had it, and the same type of information is available for you. As the saved PDF, you could print it. You could also email it. So right from here, you could also click email and email to anybody, to yourself or to your purchasing coordinator or anybody that you need to send the list to. Before I get out of here, I want to mention, as I mentioned in the beginning, that there's a couple of ways to access the calculator. The first, what we did was we were on our home page. We just clicked the button. Another way to access it, if you were, let's say you were already you were using another feature of the tool and you want to get to the shopping list, you could always go on the top navigation bar, go to Tools, and you'll see if you're a registered user, you have access to a RAW or the PFS, but this is also where you're going to find the calculator. So FBG Calculator, the Create Shopping List is to create a new one. If you choose FBG Calculator My Shopping List, it will take you to the same page we were at now so that you can go and edit an existing one. And before I get off the demo, I just want to remind again that we do have the training video available that you can always go back and review the step-by-step instructions on how to use each of the features of the web tool. So for the calculator, we have Chapter 3 is our calculator video that you can check out, in addition to this recorded webinar that you'll have access to once we make it available. So with that, I'm going to complete the demonstration of the web tool, the calculator on the web tool. So I'm going to hand it back over to Deborah to move forward with the presentation.
All right, thanks, Kashalia, for the demo. We're now going to switch gears and provide some background and a demonstration on the Food Buying Guide mobile app. The Food Buying Guide mobile app is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. We recently reached a milestone in meeting our initial goal of 10,000 downloads of the FBG mobile app. If you haven't already done so, we recommend you download it today. The FBG mobile app allows user accessibility on the go. This current version of the mobile app can be used as a guest user. Stay tuned to log in as a registered user, even using the same login account as you would use for the interactive Food Buying Guide web tool. Currently, as a guest user, the favorites food list is saved on your device only. However, once there is the ability to log in as a registered user, you will be able to create and save your favorites food list on the app and then access it on the interactive Food Buying Guide web tool or on any other mobile device, and vice versa. You'll be able to access the favorite foods list you created on the interactive Food Buying Guide tool on the app. This app includes all of the features of the interactive web tool except for the raw and product formulation statement workbook. However, we are working to provide the capability on the app to access a meal pattern contribution statement for a completed raw or product formulation statement once the login capability is available. Currently, the FBG mobile app includes many time-saving features for users, such as easy search and navigation of food yields for over 2,100 foods typically served in child nutrition programs. This search feature for the app works similar to the interactive food buying guide web tool. Just as with the interactive tool, the mobile app also allows you to compare food items and access your favorite foods list from the home screen. You can always email and print your favorite foods list as well as any other search results and comparison results. In addition, the newest feature of the mobile app is the FBG Calculator. I'm now going to hand it back to Kashaya to do a demo of the FBG Calculator on the mobile app.
Thank you, Deborah. So I'm going to switch gears now to do the demo. So on the mobile app, if you already haven't downloaded it, as Deborah said, please go ahead and download. And you may have seen the message, or you may not have seen the message. We just released it and sent out a message this morning to say now the Food Buying Guide Calculator is available on the mobile app, just released. So hot off the press, you guys are the first to get a sneak peek into this if you already haven't checked it out. So make sure, if you already have it downloaded, to go and update on the app from your Play Store so that you get the latest version. And for those who haven't downloaded, I hope we'll see some increase in numbers of download after this webinar. So just as on the web tool, there's a couple of ways to access the Food Buying Guide Calculator on the mobile app. So one way to access is clicking on the More tile on the home screen on your app. And from this, you get an option, a menu that pops up, and you'll be able to select the Food Buying Guide Calculator and just click on the button. Another way is to click on the navigation menu at the top right corner of the screen, where you see 3 lines on the screen that I'm showing right now. If you click on that, this menu opens up, and you'll be able to select the Food Buying Guide Calculator from here as well. So if you're just on the web tool, you're doing some other features and you want to access it, you don't always have to go back to the home screen to access the calculator or any of the other features. You can click on the top navigation bar for it to open up. So once you click on the calculator, this is the screen that will pop up. So this is just as it's on the web tool, it shows up as My Shopping List. And if you already have created some shopping lists, you'll see it populated as I do. I have one that starts with an M, one shopping list already on my list, but I'm ready to now create a new shopping list. Before I do that, I want to point out the info icon that I mentioned on the tool. We also have it anywhere you see the eye icon as is highlighted here on the screen. When you click that, information will pop up, such as tips for that particular screen that you're on. It'll just give you some guidance, some instructions on what you need to do. If you need to always go back and refresh what you have to put in. But always check out the tooltips. It'll help to guide you along. So now we are ready to go ahead and let's do a shopping list. So we're going to click Create Shopping List button, which will pop up a screen where you can enter in your shopping list name. So you can call it any way you want. Before, we called it a March menu. So, and you enter in the name and then hit Create. and your shopping list is created. Now you're ready to add food items. So once you create the shopping list, this is the screen that will show up for you, and you are now ready to start adding food items. You're going to click Add Food Item button. And you're going to get the search screen. So the search capability works the same way as it does on the tool. You could do a very specific search to get the item that you're looking for quicker. If you're not quite sure which item, you can be as broad as you need it, and then narrow it down as you need. So again, here we're going to go ahead and look for ground beef. Enter in ground beef and hit search, and then you're going to get at the bottom of the screen all the results that has the word ground beef. So once you find the one that you want to add, you're going to click Add, and it'll open up to give you the information for this particular food. And now we're ready to enter in the information. So as before, if we already have some on hand, we're going to go ahead and enter in for the number of purchase units. We're going to go ahead and enter in if we haven't. So we can, for this example, I left it as 0. And again, you can see there's the info icon with some information to also remind you that if the purchase unit you have on stock, if it doesn't match the food item purchase unit that's on the food buying guide, make sure to convert. So again, for this example, if you don't have it in pound and you have it in ounces, for example, you want to convert it and put it in the pound amount. So once you have entered that, now let's go ahead and do the add serving size. Click on add serving size, which will open up a screen where you'll be able to add, just as in the web tool, you'll have a drop-down menu with all the serving size available for this food items that you can select and enter in the serving size, and the purchase unit that you need to purchase will automatically calculate. So again, on this example, this is telling you you have to purchase 9 pounds of ground beef in order to serve 1 ounce serving for 100 people. So you want to make sure you always save your changes before you leave this screen. And at any time, you could also remove items from the shopping list. So let's say this is not that you accidentally chose the wrong food and you want to delete it, so you can just simply click on Remove Item, and you'll get a confirmation message to make sure you really want to do it, and you'll be able to remove it from your list. So this screen is showing we have added a couple of food items so far, and it's showing you the food items that have already been entered in. On this screen, I also want to point out that you could always go back and edit a food item you have entered into your shopping list by selecting, oops, I went too fast. By selecting the food item and then clicking in it to open it up again. So I jumped ahead too far to say that on this page, you could also have the capability to delete your entire shopping list. If you realize you don't need this shopping list anymore, you can delete the list from here as well. So here we go. So if you want to go and edit a food item on the shopping list, you can select it and to click it to open it up again. So the little arrow that you see, that means that you can click it to get more information, meaning when you click it up, you'll get the the food item information again. And on the inside of it, where you said 9, that's just giving you to show you that for this item, 9 pounds is what you need to purchase on your shopping list. So that's just a short and quick look to say on your shopping list for this food item you need to purchase 9 pounds. So another way of showing that you have the giving you a quick view. If you're looking at a quick, this is just showing you this is the purchase amount for each of these food items. To view the entire list that you have done for your shopping list, you click on View List, which will open up a screen like this. So this will give you all the food items that are on your shopping list. And to look at more information of each of the food items, you could have the little, looks like a plus sign, so you can just toggle it back and forth. So on your screen, you see when you click on each item, you can get, again, the more information of that food item, telling you exactly the number of servings that you had entered in and the serving size and your purchase amount. So on the app also, you can share the list, meaning you can email it, you can print it. By clicking on the share list, you're going to get options depending on which platform you're on. So this first example I'm showing you is for the Apple users. When you click share, you have more on the iPhones, you have a little bit more options available for you. You can, from right here, you can select to email it, print it, save it. And this is an example showing if you hit email, it still sends it as a PDF with the shopping list and looking pretty nice as a PDF, and that you can email it to yourself. Now, for you Android users, the capability right now is when you click share, you're going to see this screen where you have the options to save it as a PDF. And again, notice that the shopping list does look exactly alike, and it looks just like what you get when you did it on the web tool as well, with the same information in the same order. And for the Android, you'll have to save it first, and then we'll be able to email it. Or if you have printers, especially if you're using a tablet, or some of you I know that are on phones may already have printers hooked up, you'll be able to print it from this page as well. So that completes the demo for the mobile app, the Food Buying Guide Calculator on the mobile app. And as mentioned, this was just to cover the calculator, but we do have our previous webinar that we have available that we did on the mobile app as well, that you could always access to refer back to. So if you have any questions after the webinar today regarding these specific technical resources that we talked about, the interactive web-based tool or any of its features and components, or the mobile app, or any other technical resources, digital resources that we have, please contact the Nutrition Technical Assistance Branch within Child Nutrition Programs using the email address provided at the bottom of the screen, cmpntab@usda.gov. So for all other technical related questions such as crediting or CN labeling, please continue to work with your state agency or regional office contacts to get assistance with that. So this concludes our presentation.